All right.
Welcome
Ladies and
back.
gentlemen. Yeah, I know, right? It's
I'm just
like,
excited.
everything is so frayed. It's like murky just happened. I don't even know what to say anymore.
It was awesome. I just want to say, the Churros overall had a solid early game. They
Absolutely.
really knew how to handle the murky. It just seems like the mid to late game, the frustrating playstyle that he does so well can eventually break you down if you are not on point. And Platypus just really pushed that. His teammates, though, were the ones that were the real MVPs, in my opinion. They understood what their teammate's hero did and what it could do, and they made sure to play around it. They always kited back. They never overextended. They waited for Platypus to be alive before they went hard into a full engagement. Nicely done.
I gotta say, I mean, the murky is just like I was shocked about it, but overall the play was top notch from Platypus, and it's 5% of the overall pick said Rutgers are going to make it here. Maybe those 5% know something that we don't.
Well, the Churros still have a chance to, of course, come back. This is a best of 3 series. Let's go ahead and check out the battleground that we'll be jumping into. It'll be Dragonshire. All right, everyone, welcome to Dragonshire. Dragonshire is a 3-lane battleground as well. There is a couple of interesting mechanics that you haven't seen quite yet in Heroes of the Storm. So, of course, there are 4 mercenary camps that teams can get. It's a little bit smaller than most battlegrounds, but still, those mercenary camps can be strong. There are 2 shrines that you will need to grab, one on the top, one on the bottom. If you unlock both shrines, you get a nice Dragon Knight in the middle that a player will have to vehicle, by the way. So remember, it is similar to Garden and Terror, in which the Dragon Knight will be something that a player will have to utilize. Use that dragon to push forward, of course, and kill off the core.
Now, Dragonshire is not actually a battleground we've gone to so far in all of our games. So this is going to be a little bit new for you guys, but the big things you're going to be looking for is, just like Garden of Terror, you have to put somebody into that Dragon Knight, which means it's up to you what you want to do with it. Is it going to be a 5-man push? Will you split? Will you defend? Will you go on the offensive? It's not quite the day-night cycle, but instead the shrines, but we can really actually see some really aggressive team lineups from a lot of these teams. It's not a very big map, as you said, and at the same time, if you control those shrines, you're almost guaranteed to grab that dragon.
All right, well, let's head straight to the draft. Well, teams will pick the heroes that they want to use. Now, remember, on Dragonshire as well, you're going to have to use teamwork, but it's going to be spread out across the map. So, Jaina, Internal Envy, will be the first pick here for Platypus, which is interesting.
The dream is dead.
Here's the thing. Murky is very hard to pull off on this battleground.
Absolutely.
The Mighty Churros, knowing that, took away that secret weapon by picking this battleground. So, a nice choice here by Indiana University. They're going to be following up into Vala for Graves Robber, and it looks like Kays will be getting Tyrande.
So once again, we see these more common first pick potentials. The hoods really do kind of give a lot of power to some of these ladies of the storm. But Jaina as that first pick is very common. Vala, the most picked, almost one of the most effective heroes that we saw from the very beginning here in Heroes of the Dorm. And Tyrande just goes with almost any team comp.
Yeah, Tyrande's one of those heroes that, as Internal Envy is playing against her, you just gotta watch out for the potential stuns. You have to watch your footing around that character until she uses her abilities, which again in itself can put enough chaos on a team fight to make you kind of pull back. Fate will be picking up Diablo here as the second hero, and we're going to be falling up into Rhaegar. So grabbing solid heals, grabbing nice engagement, and then you have solid bursts with Platypus. Already, the first couple of heroes are looking great for Internal Envy. What will Mighty Churros follow up into?
Well, it looks like it's going to be a Zagar there for Buck Nasty. And again, you're looking at some very powerful back and assassin slash support slash hybrid picks. And Mighty Churros did this last time with their draft. They went for those big ranged damage dealers first. They will finish it off with an Uther on this pick round. But something I got to say about Eternal Envy, Diablo Rhaegar, once again, that combo of the Lightning Breath and the Ancestral could actually come out again.
That it could. Also, something to note as well for Bug Nasty is he has a heroic that can actually negate one of the abilities that Diablo has. So that's a strong counter pick here for Mighty Churros. Looking into Tames, he's going to be getting Tassadar here, so a nice healing support slash with Rhaegar, and then of course a shield of support here for Tames. And the Benapple, playing a solid Tychus in the last game, will be showing up once again as the 5th pick here. And it all comes down to what will the Mighty Churros pick for their 5th hero. Looks like they're grabbing ETC once again.
They needed a warrior, and once again going back and forth, Diablo, ETC. Definitely the top 2 warrior picks that we've seen here in Heroes of the Dorm. But, something you said, that's a Gara pick. With that Devouring Maw, there's not too many things that can stop the unstoppable of the Lightning Breath. but that is definitely one of the only tools in the game that can actually cancel it out.
And we've already seen from Eternal Envy that they want to pick up the Lightning Breath. So grabbing Zagara and getting her heroic ability called Devouring Maul, you put that on top of Diablo, and that allows your team to fully engage. That's the main thing they want. The last time they were in a huge team fight with the Eternal Envy, they ran into a situation where they would always have that Lightning Breath happening, and they couldn't fully engage because a fire just hurt too much. So we're going to be starting the game pretty soon here, and I can't wait to see who will win game number 2 of this best of 3 series, Jester.
Well, I mean, it's really the onus is on top of Indiana University, the mighty Churros, because they are down 0-1 after that defeat on Cursed Hollow, after they suffered their defeat at the hands of Murky. So this is their redemption game, and this is their map choice.
All right, Kays, Graves, Robber, Wilted, Buck Nasty, and Daelectra will be down here on the left side for the blue team. Mighty Churros, Indiana University will be on the left side. Nice Lunar Flare. On the very far right, Eternal Envy for Rutgers, up 1-0 the underdogs. Jester, could you please give them the introduction they deserve?
So you're going to see Thames, Guardian Wisp, Banapple, Fate, and of course Platypus on that Jaina into the bottom lane. No Murky Dream here, but still a very bursty kind of hero, and she's been a mainstay in a lot of our matches today. These are the players of Eternal Envy from Rutgers, and they have a very big chance to defy all their critics and say, we're going to the Epic 8.
All right, 4 heroes down here in the bottom lane, a 5th now joining. They're looking for a potential pickoff, but if we look at the Mighty Churros, they're all behind their gates right now. They're waiting for the minions to show up before they go into the lane, and the red team kind of reveals where they're at. They don't want to have any crazy shenanigans happen. 3 members in the bottom lane, though, can be a very strong strategy here, especially with Buck Nasty.
Now, this is a little bit more of a lopsided map when it comes to mercenaries, Trixler, because a lot of the mercenary camps, 3 of the 5, are actually in this concentrated bottom area, and that is why you would traditionally see teams like do what like the Mighty Churros are doing. They're putting 3 of their team members here early, and they're going to try to keep pushing and getting as much damage and presence as they can so that they can have the freedom to pick up some of those mercenary camps later.
Okay, the 3 members pushing down here in the bottom lane. This will be kind of back and forth. There's a lot of kill potential here, but let's check out the middle lane and, of course, the top lane just to see the matches. Wilted versus Thames, support on support action. Thames, through a long duration, can win that fight. Daelectra versus Banapple. Daelectra, actually, in the early game, can take out Tychus pretty quickly, especially if he's not careful with the dash that he has, if he misuses it in any way, shape, or form. So you'll see Daelectra kind of be really aggressive and, of course, grab the shrine if possible.
Now, of course, you know, with that Tychus up there, he really likes to use Overkill, that Q ability of his. That's the main big gun ability. Daelectra, however, has a lot of lockdown available to him, and anything lockdown will interrupt it, which will remove that advantage from Banapple. So he has to really be on his toes. Top lane, it is going to be that shrine going the way of the Churros. Bottom, however, Eternal Envy have now captured that, and this is now going to be starting the dance of who can grab 2 shrines.
Oh my gosh, Platypus gets caught there by a Lunar Flare, and you see Graves Robber and Buck Nasty just apply a little bit of damage. They have to be careful. You see Mighty Churros being a little bit more defensive, even though they have a better pushing lane, just because all of their heroes are very weak heroes. They can die pretty darn quickly if they are caught out of position. You see Graves Robber taking only a couple auto attacks and goes down to a quarter of health of damage. So they have to be super careful when they're in this lane, and that's why Eternal Envy is able to grab the shrine so easily, just because Fate, that Diablo player, can force an engagement at any point.
You also saw the damage available to Eternal Envy. If that had actually been the grab on Kays instead of Graves Robber, who doesn't have a vault, who doesn't have that escape mechanism, that could have actually been our first takedown of the match, but unfortunately it did not go that way. So Graves Robber will be okay. He's getting healed up. Tyrande there is a really good support for this lane, because the 3 range damage dealers can continue to just keep pushing in and in and in, but it is up to them to grab this shrine.
Graves Robert tries to take back the shrine, and you'll see these teams just constantly in a bit of a tug of war on all these lanes. You have teamwork across the entire 3 lanes. In fact, the top lane is finally being grabbed by Tychus here. He's able to sneak it away. Daelectra is trying to come around and go in for the gadget. Banapple, you gotta be careful, man. He just stood there, and he actually gets pelted pretty quickly by that huge guitar available to Daelectra, and you see him retreat right away. They were trying to grab that top shrine, and wish Tazadar in the middle lane would have been able to grab that dragon. Unfortunately now, the bottom lane is still the main point of contention. Let's go ahead and check that out here, as Zagara, Graves Robber are trying to find a way to get Guardian Lift and Fate off the shrine. Please move, they asked, but unfortunately it's not happening.
And I'm going to say, where did that 3rd ranged hero go here from Mighty Churros? She was actually taken down, and that's why we see this bigger aggression coming out now from Eternal Envy. They know they have a numbers advantage, and they're going to have that damage advantage there as well, because the support is just not there for the Churros for the duration of that countdown. So level 6 going back and forth. No real movements towards mercenary camps as of yet. Everyone is just kind of feeling out their lanes. How are they going to go back and forth? It's, you know, really does, I think, come down to the top. You know, if Tychus on Banapple actually does get taken or out, we could see a roam from the ETC, and that could actually lead us into a bit more of a swing of power for the Mighty Churros. But it's the same story for Eternal Envy. If Banapple is able to take out Delectra, you could see a similar thing.
So we're getting to a point in this battleground where the heroes are starting to get a little bit on the stronger side. They can start peeling off and getting mercenary camps. They can keep being a little bit aggressive as well, and they're starting to get more kill potential. They're moving towards level 10, which again, right now we have the red team, Eternal Envy, just a little bit ahead, just a bit. They're on their way to 10 quicker, and they're actually knowing this. They're grabbing mercenary camps in the bottom right corner. So let's go ahead and check that out as I grab the Giants. Banapple going to try and maybe grab the Shrine. Looks like he won't be able to do so. But here we go. You see Eternal Envy realizing they're putting so much pressure on bottom lane that Mighty Churros is scared. They're going to use that advantage to grab the Giants here, which gives them a little bit of experience and pushing power.
And that pushing power should actually provoke a response here from Mighty Churros. We might even actually be able to grab our first takedown. The Shrines are still holding steady, one apiece. No takedowns really as of yet, although we do have just that one from earlier on. Either way, level 8 apiece. As you said a little bit earlier, Eternal Envy has a bit more of a lead. So when it comes to that race for the heroics, for that big power-up, it is actually favoring Eternal Envy right now.
Guardian and Wisp and Fate thinking about maybe going up and stealing those mercenary camps. They're just a little bit too late overall. And again, you just see the strategy for Eternal Envy is hold this bottom lane. It's all we got to do. They don't really care too much about the top lane. They're just going to allow Tychus, if you want to go check that out real quickly, just keep pressure up. He's gotten a little bit of damage on those turrets. He might actually get one.
Wow,
so
he did.
Nicely done. That will give him a little bit more experience too, just for the overall team experience. And the mid lane, again, it's just Hassadar versus Uther. And really, Tames is just winning this. Look at this. He's killed off 2 turrets, taken out a gate, and he's keeping the pressure. Wilted can't do anything.
He is definitely limited in his responses. I mean, it's a melee support up against a range. Anytime he goes up to Tames, Tames can just shield himself, and it's not real damage. It's just that temporary buffer ready to go. So yeah, nobody's coming out to help Wilted. Nobody's coming out for this mid. It's all about the top. It's all about the bottom. And right now, actually, we're losing out that top shrine from Mighty Churros.
Banapples is going to be able to grab the top lane. He's going to try and hold this down. They have hit level 10. You see Fate trying to grab the dragon, and it looks like he may just get it.
Oh,
no,
so
the
close.
bottom lane. The bottom lane was denied here by Graves, Robert Kays, and Bugnasty. Nice, slight move by them to make sure that they can secure level 10, but also prevent their opponents from grabbing anything.
Now, but they do have those heroics. Where Van Apple up to the top was actually dueling out the ETC. Actually, the ETC run away because of the heroics. Either way, it is now going to be once more both red shrines. And will this actually lead us into our first dragon?
We'll see here momentarily. It looks like there's 4 members down here, and there's one at the very top, so no one's actually trying to grab the dragon quite yet. The red team decides, you know what, maybe we might put a little bit of pressure. Finally, Diablo and Guardian Wisp are heading to the middle lane. Let's go ahead and check that out, as they're going to try and maybe poke off Uther. If they can maybe just get him knocked away, they might be able to grab this. Taines is coming in as well to help out. Wilted doing a good job of delaying it. Fate is actually getting hit by the small minions, and finally he's going to try and secure this. Does he get it? Nope. Denied once again in the bottom lane.
Yeah. So far, I mean, the counter grabs here from Mighty Churros have been really on point. They've now denied 2 dragons into that bottom lane. And again, you know, that tri-lane down here, Buck Nasty, Kays, and Graves Robber, they have really been sticking to their guns. Unfortunately, haven't really been able to push out as much as they might like. Now, this is interesting. Tames is actually rotating now down. He's going to be taking care of this bottom lane, because what is the rest of Eternal Envy doing? They're finally hitting a bruiser camp.
They realize they have to get pressure on the map in some way or some form, so they can get one member of Mighty Churros to kind of pull back and defend against that, which could put them in a 5v4 of trying to grab that Dragon Knight. You need to give and take in some way or some form, and if you can force some Mighty Churros to do it in a situation where they're just a little bit backwards, being a little bit more defensive, that's where you sneak the Dragon Knight. You can't do it when you have a full 5-on-5 happening the entire map.
Now, Banapple was actually absent into the top. That's why we had 2 blue shrines just for a moment there. But it has now been retaken, and we are going to resume back to 1-1 for the counts. We do have these blue bruisers actually captured out into the bottom, and they're putting up this pressure up against Eternal Envy, just like Eternal Envy is putting up pressure into the top lane. So it's a very much a tug of war going back and forth, shrines and pressures here and there. It's a lot of trades, but it's still Eternal Envy slightly leading in that experience.
Eternal Envy wants to get the shrine. They do have control of the top one. They do have Tassadar in the middle lane, and it might be able to potentially grab it. Let's see if Tames is able to get it. No, there's 2 members here. You see how the Mighty Churros They're playing a bit defensive, but they're always stacking lanes in some way or some form to hold it. Here we go. Fate moving in. Gets wilted. Wilted in trouble. There goes the laser from Banapple, and they finally will secure the dragon. They have the laser here to back them up as well. And let's see what they can do with the dragon. This is where the real the fighting happens. You need to try and take out this fort. It's very robust, and it's very nice and damaged, that dragon is. So here you see it chunking down this fort. If they can get the fort for a dragon, it's a pretty solid trade at the early game. Also, there's a fight right below here as Fate charges in.
Yeah, Fate, however, is now going to be a bit more on the defensive. We see that Starfall, but he turns right back around and says lightning breath for you. But unfortunately, it only really does kind of tick away a bit on Wilted. Not exactly the big turnaround he was hoping for. But still, we saw the dragon. He came in, got that fort. No takedowns suffered here from Eternal Envy. They did throw down a few of those heroics. We saw the laser on the counter side. We saw the Starfall, but we also have now the lightning breath down for about 50 seconds. This could be a really good opportunity in just a little bit here for the Mighty Churros, as when they hit 13, they still have a little bit of a window with their heroics all up, and if they can grab a few takedowns, which will be their first takedowns of the game, they might be able to start playing their own pressure.
Eternal Envy keeping up the pressure down here in the bottom left corner, but I agree with you, Jester. I feel like the Mighty Churros need to make something happen here. Do want to know that their Uther player did take a Divine Shield, which will shield an ally for a couple of seconds and allow you to be invincible for a little bit. So we'll probably see that on ETC, or of course anyone that might get died. Here we go. That team fight is occurring. Electra runs on in. Fate is trying to back up. There goes the Devouring Maul, catching two members. Wilted charging forward as well, and it looks like Tames might be in trouble, Jester.
Yeah, Tames is definitely taking the brunt of it, but there wasn't really a big lockdown follow-up from that Maul. Wilted doesn't have the Divine Storm. He has the shield, just like you said. There goes the Electra as well, just too far forward. The Uther has already been into that ethereal form. Graves Robber just doesn't have the hit points to survive through the burst of Platypus. He's still now pushing in. Buck Nasty has to start really running for the hills, and Kaze is going to be there to help him with that retreat. But overall, a very solid engage from Eternal Envy, even without those heroics.
The three members of the blue team Mighty Churros are now down, and you're right, 5 members up for Eternal Envy, and this is looking good for the underdog team that now seems to be in a situation where they're pretty far ahead and look like they're having the advantage. They're going to go ahead and spread out a little bit, make sure to push out the lanes. This game has been a little bit slower, a little bit more methodical overall, and it seems to be working out for Eternal Envy as they've been keeping up, really making sure to keep pressure on their opponents, but never overextending.
Now I'm curious, the Mighty Churros actually chose this map. They came in here with 3 ranged assassins. Well, alright, a ranged support with that Tyrande, but she really does augment the damage capabilities of those assassins. And at the same time, they haven't really been able to make anything work in their favor. They still do not have takedowns. They can get this shrine for now, but will they be able to hold it?
Well, really, their entire team comes together around level 16. That's where they get a lot of their talents that really make them very, very strong. And they're trying to get there. But the thing is, I want to agree with you, Jester. I feel like they're at such a disadvantage right now. Can they even do it? That's the question. And of course you can if you're on top of your coordination and Eternal Envy makes a couple of mistakes. It's a matter of forcing the mistakes. And also, by the way, we need Zagar to make sure that when she hits the Devouring Maul, it's in a perfect place where it kind of negates maybe Fate's lightning breath, or of course it's more than 2 members. They have to get that AoE Devouring Maul to, of course, grab a few people in the fight. That way they can, of course, use that damage to get rid of teammates that are left over really quickly. I
think something in terms of a bigger issue with this is, like, we had the Devouring Maul in the last engage. It did take down 2 members temporarily. Problem is, what are you going to follow that up with? The Lunar Flare is not exactly a big reticle. It doesn't have the big oomph that a Divine Storm would, but it's not a storm. It's a Divine Shield from Uther. And this round, I don't think that's actually the better choice for the heroic.
Yeah, I think Divine Storm may have been a great choice, but it looks like they're putting a lot of their faith into Electra to, of course, follow up on the Devouring Maul with potentially his ability Power Slide, where he can slide through and stun a couple members, and maybe that's the only option he has, but he has to hit it, you know? It's a little on the difficult side. So Eternal Envy right now, they seem to be really taking this this lead and running with it a little bit. They're grabbing the bruisers down here in the bottom, or the Giants in the bottom right corner, and it looks like they may grab the bruisers right above this too.
And all the mercenary camps so far have enlisted for the red side, for Rutgers. And it's starting to really amp up in terms of how much pressure that Mighty Churros are under. They have to be continually defending lanes, and that means that they cannot go to really contest any kind of big objectives like these shrines. They have held on to that top blue shrine, but, you know, the ETC's up there while this gigantic push is really forming up. And, you know, I gotta say, Banapple at level 4, he picked up the melting point, and that is what is melting down some of these towers.
Okay, but Apple really doing damage to these towers, really just keeping up with that lead.
Boom.
And right now, overall, we have to have the ETC at the very top lane. He's trying to grab 16 for his team. He now has it. We also have Wicked in the middle lane as Uther trying to float around. Eventually, they're going to have Wilted. They're going to have to all come down to the bottom left to defend against this. And the moment they start doing it, look at Internal Envy.
Yeah.
They run away.
Yeah.
They realize, well, we can grab other things. We can grab the Shrine on the top. We can grab the Dragon. They realize they've done so well in team fights now that they are forcing their opponents to come to them. And when they come to them, they seem to falter a little bit. I think you're right. The lockdown is very hard here for the Mighty Churros.
So level 18 to 16, we are on those even playing fields with the power-ups. Mighty Churros with that 16 has now completed out more or less everything until that Storm tier talents at level 20, but still 2 levels behind. Eternal Envy can really just kind of keep pushing and poking and waiting for that level 20 advantage if they don't want to fight to 16. It's up to the Churros to try to force that engage and find a great engage with that Devouring Maw, perhaps instead with the ETC, with that stage dive, but still, I'm not seeing this initiative from them.
Okay, Internal Envy are now pushing down the bottom left corner. Now, this bridge is actually a hard place to fight. This is actually really good for here for Buck Nasty and Electra. If they can land a Devouring Maw combo here, they can really grab a lot of Internal Envy. But the moment that Internal Envy noticed that Mighty Churros are there, they pulled back. Rutgers realized they cannot actually fight on that bridge. It's too tight of a small area.
They're not taking the chances. They say, yeah, we could fight, we have the advantage, but one good Maw, one good Power Slide, one good Lunar Flare could actually hit multiple people, and that is a great setup for
I like this play, by the way. They realize that every time they act like they're going to go toward the Shrine, that the opposing team runs towards it, and they're going to try and catch them out of position here. Fate, unfortunately, was not able to combo Electra completely there, and will not be able to get that takedown, but overall, I like the strategy. However, a heroic from Apple has been used. His laser drill is now in the top left corner. If you're the Mighty Churros, you want to fight now before your opponents hit level 20 and they get those cooldowns back.
Just like what we don't have in terms of that big 1-2 punch here from the Churros, we don't really have a ton of lockdown either for Eternal Envy. In fact, Tames is on the wrong side of this lockdown combo. He just absolutely gets blown up. We do have the Devouring Maw going out. This is going to be the big collapse that we were looking for from the Mighty Churros. That's 2 quick takedowns to their credit, and that is actually going to be phenomenal because now they have a good chance of getting a dragon.
Jester, those 2 pickups were a big deal. Right now, Eternal Envy does not have those 2 heroes for another 40 seconds. That means they can grab whatever map pressure they want here. They can grab the fort in the bottom right. They can grab these Sea Giants. They can potentially grab the dragon. In fact, they have ETC at the very top right now grabbing the Shrine for them, which means they potentially could grab this dragon in the middle. The plays are being made here for Mighty Churros. Can they keep up with it? That's the question. And for Eternal Envy, they need to wait here for 20 seconds.
Okay, Wilted, he's actually free and clear to pick this up. We did have that Tychus ready to go, but in fact, they're going to go up. They're looking for that ambush on top of Delectra, and because they're going after the ETC, they didn't see Wilted there, and this is a very scary Dragon Knight because it's 16 minutes in. The rest of the team has actually continued pushing in with 4 Siege Giants, and that's a keep.
This is a big moment for the Mighty Churros, and they're going to try their best to capitalize as much as they can. Finally, Jaina and Tacit are available for Eternal Envy. They've caught up in experience, the Mighty Churros here. They're unfortunately going to be behind by 1 level, but this fort will help out a lot. We do have Eternal Envy just getting 20. If they want to fight, they need to do it now. You see them walking forward here. They want to get behind Wilted if possible. They don't want to focus everything on the dragon unless they just want to take it out. It looks like they decided to take out Wilted. They're focusing him down, doing what they can here. Platypus is amazingly great here as a hero to take out the dragon as she has that chill talent. And Wilted's going to punch someone away, get away from the area. But overall, you see Mighty Churros playing safe. They just now hit level 20. It's all about the engagement here now.
Yeah, the Dragon definitely has those 2 abilities ready to go. The football kick, the punt, as well as the fire breath. He also does 2.5 times the damage on his basic attacks to structures. So he's a great team fight, but he's a much better pusher. But so far, Wilted, he's been forced back. We got 10 seconds left on. It still has 8% left to his name, so he's just going to try to charge forward, get off 1 more Flame Breath, and then he will pop out of that dragon.
Okay, so nice job here for Mighty Churros. They got a couple of pickoffs. They made sure to get themselves in an even state here in terms of levels. They are actually in a really solid state. They are only down. Oh, they're even in force and keeps, actually. So right now, the game is super even just because of those 2 picks that Mighty Churros are able to get. Eternal Envy needs to make sure they don't allow that to happen again, because if it does, that will be game ending.
Now remember, just a few moments ago, there was a 2-level lead between these teams. 2 kills, and now the fort, and the keep. Thank you, Dragon. that just ties us right back up. You're absolutely right. If Eternal Envy slip up one more time like that, and they don't get the takedowns or they get caught, that could be game for them.
And Eternal Envy right now, remember, they've been aggressive the entire game. They've had well, they've been aggressive in terms of pushing stuff down the lanes. Right now, they're having to defend a lot here. They have the bottom lane they have to defend. They have to defend the top lane pretty soon as well. The middle lane's getting pushed. And at the same time, Mighty Churros in the very south end of the map right now, grabbing more stuff to throw their way. And it looks like they're going to float around, wait a bit till the next shrines pop up. The important members for Eternal Envy that we have to watch out for are Diablo, of course. Diablo's the one that's going to start a lot of these fights. So I'm watching for Eternal Envy to sneak around. He's up there in the top right corner. Fate there is the main one that has to start an engagement for his team. It's a matter of him getting out there, but they also have to be careful because Manapple and Platypus are playing two characters that if they get caught out of position, like we've already seen, they'll be dispatched of pretty quickly.
Well, dispatching these Siege Giants and those Bruisers extremely fast. I mean, Fate and Banapple there with that overkill, with those flames, able to just really decimate their mercenaries that were coming down to knock on their core. Remember, there's no keep down there. We have one keep down between the two teams, which means that we get a really good engage. This could actually be a march of death from the Mighty Churros.
Okay, the Mighty Churros are set up here. Guardian and Wisp will be able to notice them, and Tames as well is going to have an ability to check out this push. Wilted, though, trying to find a scenario where he can land a nice stun on his opponent's Fate charging forward. Finally here, can he get an engagement? His team's a little bit too far backwards here, but they will be able to grab this shrine. That's the main objective overall. And of course, there's one at the very top as well. But no one can really afford to send anyone up there because a fight is about to happen. Things are bubbling up really quickly here as we move to the late game.
Now Fate, he's positioning himself very forward. He wants to look for that shadow charge, toss somebody over the shoulder, and then they're going to try to blow that hero up.
Oh,
Eternal Envy, though, there it is. They're going to jump in, but Buck Nasty has that bolt ready to go. Where's the Devouring Maw? How many people will it grab? There's the Lunar Flare, the laser into the back. Here comes the stage dive as well. There's the Maw. It's going to take down Fate. No lightning breath here, but the shield on top of Wilted is enough. Unfortunately, we lose out the Rhaegar. The heals are down from Eternal Envy, and this is not going their way.
Craze Robert charges forward. He's trying to take out Platypus. Platypus will be able to get away just barely, but members are looking very weak for Eternal Envy. Diablo realizes he has to run it in. Fate will respawn immediately here, as that's one of the mechanics that the hero does have. But 5 members are still up here for the Mighty Churros, it looks like, as they're going to start charging forward into the base in the bottom right. At the same time, you do have Banapple on the very top trying to deal with the minions and potentially steal the fort, but he can't do that.
He has to come home. Yeah, Platypus doesn't have the hit points for this. Fate with that 5-second timer, because he has so many souls ready to go, that's going to be the big defense here. We need all hands on deck because this core is starting to go down.
Okay, Wilted in trouble. Banapple is focusing him down. Wilted going down pretty darn quickly. Platypus does miss an ability that would have secured the kill. Banapple will charge forward. Electra is trying to help out as well. The core is helping out in the defense. Graves Robert and Case are in trouble. The core, though, getting down to 18%. Can they defend? It looks like they might be able to. Electra as well. Buck Nasty in trouble as well, but no. The core has been taken out by the Mighty Churros, and they will go ahead and tie the series 1-1. Man, that was bold.
Man, down almost 2 levels. It was what, 18 to 20, 19 to 17, but it's still going to be the victory for the Churros, tying this up, and once more we are going to see the finesse and majesty of a game number 3 in a best-of-3 series.
That just goes to show you that even if you're ahead in these type of games, a comeback is always possible if, of course, you believe in yourselves and you get the pickoffs that you need. Also, when you look at the Mighty Churros, they were just on point when it came down to it. Envy really...
Eventually, maybe.
Yeah, eventually, yeah. They were on point towards the late game when it came down to it, when they needed to win the game, when it mattered. Remember, this entire game goes for a good of 15 to 20 minutes. You have to be in there the entire time. So the series now tied 1-1 for Eternal Envy and Mighty Churros. Indiana University's got to be happy with that one.
I mean, Rutgers were definitely the underdog, but such a strong opening into the Dragonshire, the map of their opponents choosing. I was almost really, about to throw up all my papers and say the Cinderella story is real. 2-0 from a 5% pick overall is phenomenal. It's a great story for Rutgers, but unfortunately, as you said, it's never out of the question that a comeback could occur, and that's what we saw with the Churros.
Well, we're going to be going to game number 3 in this matchup. Eternal Envy will choose the next battleground. We'll figure out what it is right after this quick commercial break.